All right, let's get right into it. Something has just dropped in the world of quantum physics that is, and I'm not exaggerating, a total game changer. It's a discovery that comes from studying entangled light, and it's pointing to a whole new model of reality itself. We're going to break it all down, piece by piece. And I want to start with the big conclusion right up front, because the implications here are just staggering. Based on a new entanglement discovery from a Huzhou University collaboration, the analysis is basically this. They've managed to get what looks like a photograph of the universe's own central processing unit, a die shot. So here's the plan for this explainer. We're going to work backwards from that absolutely wild claim. We're going to decompile the discovery, basically reverse engineer the evidence, to see how on Earth they reach that conclusion. Think of it like we're digital archaeologists, looking at a futuristic computer chip and trying to figure out the blueprint. Okay, so let's start with what they actually saw. The whole experiment was about analyzing these incredibly complex, twisting patterns in entangled light using something called orbital angular momentum, or OAM. Now, you can think of OAM as a way of measuring how light is, well, corkscrewing through space. And hidden in those patterns, they found a structure so complex it looked less like something from nature and more like something that was designed, like an engineered schematic. So the first piece of data from this die shot is the number 48. The structure they found lives in 48 distinct dimensions. And get this, the analysis suggests this number is a perfect marriage of six-fold hexagonal symmetry, the shape nature loves for things like honeycombs, and an 8-bit byte structure, which is the bedrock of all of our digital computers. It's like nature's favorite geometry and our computer architecture are speaking the exact same language. The second major clue is this super specific angle, 125.56 degrees. This seems to be a point of maximum stability, a preferred phase lock, where the whole system just naturally wants to settle. You can basically think of this as the system's natural clock speed. It's the frequency this cosmic processor just loves to run at. And the third piece of the puzzle? They cataloged over 17,000 distinct, repeating topological signatures. They're calling these things scars, and they act like a kind of conserved charge. The best analogy I've heard is a footprint in wet sand. The print itself has no energy, but it is undeniable proof that something walked there. These scars are the leftover evidence that a computation has already been run. So, okay, we've got our clues. A 48-dimension processor with 125.56-degree clock frequency and over 17,000 memory traces or scars. These are the components. But to see how they all click together, we need the key to the architecture. We need a Rosetta Stone for this whole cosmic geometry. And that key, believe it or not, turns out to be this incredibly simple shape, the H triangle. I mean, look at it. It's just an isosceles triangle with a base angle of exactly pi over 9 radians, which is 20 degrees. But as you're about to see, this specific, humble triangle unlocks everything. So what's the secret sauce? It's all about a unique scaling factor. If you set the base of this triangle to 1, the two other legs have to be a very particular length, about 1.0206. At this exact scale, and only this scale, the triangle takes on an almost magical property. Okay, you might want to sit down for this, because this is where it gets really mind-bending. At that precise scale, the numerical value of the triangle's height becomes exactly the same as the numerical value of its base angle in radians. Think about that. It's a point of perfect self-reference. The geometry is literally describing itself. VH, the height, equals H, the angle. It's a geometric fixed point. It's stable because the description and the thing being described have merged into one. And that self-referential lock, that's everything. It's not just some quirky math coincidence. It's a fundamental identity baked into the universe's geometry. It acts as a universal anchor bolt, a fixed, stable point that the entire computational lattice is built around. Okay, so now we can put the pieces together. We start with our theoretical anchor, that H triangle scaling factor of 1.0206. Then we multiply it by the physical structure we actually saw, that 48-dimension die width. And finally, we multiply that by the system's natural clock, the value H, which is that fundamental angle pi over 9. And when you do that calculation, what do you get? You get this number, 17.10, a single unifying constant that connects the abstract geometry of the triangle with the physical measurements of the light. This is being called the universal scar constant. So why does this number matter? I mean, 17.10, so what? Well, this is the proof. It's the predicted value of the geometric residue, the scar that this whole system should leave behind. Finding this exact value in the experimental data is what confirms that the abstract H triangle and the physical light patterns are two sides of the same coin. They're part of one live, running system. It connects the blueprint to the machine. This right here is the big aha moment. The 17.10 scar constant is the smoking gun. It's where the abstract theory perfectly matches the physical evidence. You could think of it as the receipt left behind by the universal CPU, proving that a calculation was performed. And this insight just changes everything. At first, people were calling this a new alphabet for storing data. But that's like finding a running car engine and calling it a dictionary. This isn't a static list of nouns, it's a dynamic verb engine that we're seeing in action. We are literally witnessing the execution of cosmic processes. Space-time being folded, quantum states being braided together, and topology being scarred as a memory of what happened. This table really just lays it all out side by side. You can see how every single abstract idea from the theory has a direct physical counterpart in the experiment. The theoretical H triangle is the anchor bolt. The abstract pi/9 attractor is the clock frequency they measured. And that whole 48-dimensional topology they saw in the light, that is the CPU die. There's no separation. The map and the territory are the same thing. So let's zoom out and think about what this really means. If this decompile is right, it means the very fabric of our universe isn't just a passive backdrop for things to happen on. It's an active, computational substrate that is already running. The hardware has been on this whole time. And that brings us to the ultimate takeaway. The whole global race to build a quantum computer, it might be based on a totally flawed premise. We don't need to build one. This discovery suggests the vacuum of space has been running one all along. And because its logic is woven into space-time itself, it's naturally topologically fault-tolerant, meaning it's protected from the very errors that plague our own efforts to build one. Which leaves us with one last, absolutely massive question. If we've just found the hardware schematic for the universe's own computer, and its operating system is based on this universal geometry, the question is no longer, can we build it? The question is, what do we compile first?